Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulihi. Amma ba'du. I greet our listening audience, the students, with the greeting Assalamu alaikum once again. And this is our Thursday evening presentation. We're looking at the Quran. Normally we take a Quranic verse. We're going through chapter 16. We're going to be on the verse 1635. Chapter 16, verse 35. And what we're doing is comparing the logic of Ibn Arabi and Imam W.D. Muhammad on these verses. It's a comparative study that I'm doing between the two minds that are very, very much alike in terms of their makeup, in terms of, if we can use the word there, them being philosophers, religious philosophers, or them being reformers. Ibn Arabi and Imam W.D. Muhammad. Some things I'm going to point out for discussion on Tuesday. Tuesday, I'm going to just announce to open it up a little more. We have discussions from today's presentation, questions you may ask, clarity you may get from today that I won't elaborate so much on now. And also questions on the Quran, whether it pertains to your writing or not. Questions on the Quran, grammatical questions on the Quran, the understanding of the reading of the Quran, passages in the Quran. We will also have that on Tuesday. We start at 7 o'clock, and you can leave anytime you want. Sometimes we start discussing things unrelated after all the questions I ask, but you don't have to be held up. Come ask your questions, and you can stay or leave as long as you want. I'm not watching the attendance unless no one shows up. If no one shows up, then we don't have to do it again. So let us begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. And those who ashraku, those who make associations, those who ascribe partners, make associations. It's not that they do not believe in Allah. Yes, they believe in Allah. They know there's Allah. But there are others that they give their attention to, their devotion to, that should be given to Allah. This is ashraku. Sometimes we think the people don't believe in Allah, but this is people who know about Allah, what have you. They just ascribe others to Allah. And we have to be very careful in this society that we're in today, the circumstances we find ourselves in today, that we have this for leaders that have come and gone. We ascribe so much attention to them, so devoted to them, the type of devotion we should give to Allah. Yes. Yes, remember our forefathers. Remember our leaders that came before us. But remember Allah more. Give devotion to Allah more. And Allah is giving us this Quran. So those who are like that, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا لَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ. This is what they said. They said, if Allah wished, if Allah willed, مَا أَبَدْنَا مِن دُونِهِ. We would not have worship other than him. If Allah willed it, we will not have worship other than him. Min shay'in, of anything. Nahnu, we, wala aba'una, and our forefathers. We and our forefathers would not have worshipped anyone outside of him had he willed it. Listen to the language that they're using and see, where do we see this at today? Wala haramna, and we would not have made prohibitions. We would not have made things haram. We would not have prohibited things. Think about how many people today, where do you see people today, even Muslims, talking directly to Muslim first, bringing about prohibitions and ascribing those prohibitions to someone other than Allah. Min dunihi min shay, other than him of anything, providing prohibitions. Yes. So, point of discussion. Where do you see Muslims prohibiting something other than what Allah has prohibited? We cannot make something haram that Allah has not made haram. And the verse goes on. We're going to concentrate on this part of the verse. This is the crux of the verse. The first part of the verse is the crux of the verse. And that's what we're going to look at. The rest of the verse, because I'm talking to the students, my students, look at the rest of the verse yourself. If you have a problem with it, ask questions. So here in the first part, Ibn Arabi is going to comment, وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا, which we just read, لَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ مَا عَبَدْنَا مِن دُونِهِ مِن شَيْءٍ. He says, إِنَّمَا, surely, قَالُوا, they said that, they said that, they said that being stubborn, out of stubbornness, where ta'annutan, and obstinacy. This of them saying it. And faratil jahli, the exaggeration upon the exaggeration of ignorance. Within the exaggeration of ignorance, their circumstance that they're in, this is society that they're in. They make these kind of statements, which is a show of ignorance. The same you will find today. Ignorant of Scripture, if I put it in today's context. Ignorant of Scripture. Ignorant of what Allah wants. وَإِلْزَامًا لِلْمُوَحِدِينَ, and not only out of stubbornness, but out of coercion for unification, I'm going to say. Unification, بِنَاءً عَلَى مَذْهِبِهِمْ, based upon their philosophy, madhab, based upon their school of thought, based upon their philosophy of religion, based upon what they think, and they want to force some form of unification based upon how they think, their pattern of thinking. Yes, even when it comes to religion. Muwahidina, that's another point that I want you to make. Muwahidina. So we said Muwahidina, and was it Faratil Jahli? Muwahidina. which I want to elaborate on. Make notes as we go because I'm trying to think and go at the same time without reading from a written script other than what's in front of us. Is allowed halu zalika. If they had said that, an ilmin wa yakin, upon science, knowledge, science, this word ilm, we're going to see this word a lot. It's in the Quran a lot. We're going to see it used a lot. Ilm, science. This is the word for science. Something that we study, we observe, so forth and so on. Well, yakin and certainty, factual. We call it exact, the exact science. An exact science, an example of an exact science, which these verses are connected as we go, is the Quran. The Quran is not, first of all, the Quran itself is ilm. It's science. We have to treat it as a science, study it as a science, learn it as a science. And it's constantly unfolding within the times. It continues to unfold. This is the Quran. But it's an exact science in that we don't change it. We don't need to change it. It is as it was revealed the first time. So it's not theoretical. It's not experimentational. It's not where we make observations and we're going to change it if it doesn't meet our requirements, our needs, man's requirements, man needs at the moment. No, we can't do that with the Quran. No more than, as we said, you can't do that with mathematics. It's exact. It's an exact science. You study and learn the science and then apply it. Apply it to our life. Apply it to the material world. Apply it to our activity. Yes. It's not just an historical book, just making historical references. The Quran is not that. It's a book of all times. We have to continue to read it. So it's an exact science. It should be taught as such. The man, we see the picture of the teacher. He's teaching the Quran in Ghana. He's teaching in Ghana the same Quran we're teaching here. We look at principles and ideas we get from it, and we may get different principles and different ideas for the application of where we're at. That's the freedom that we have. Yes. But there's a certain amount of it it doesn't need to be undone. But we can't change the Quran itself. And there's plenty of ellipses in terms of words that are not written but understood, to give us the room, the freedom to think and reflect. This is for all of man, all Muslims. So if they had that, if they had ilm, yakin, lakanu muwahidina, then they would have been unified. Again, this word is very important for us to elaborate on, which I won't do here. Muwahidina. They will be unified, la mushrikina. La mushrikina. And we're going to connect it to what we were saying before. We're talking about the unfolding. We're talking about the two paths. I think we're going to bring up this idea of muwahidina. La mushrikina, and not they would have been muwahidina, they would have been unified. Well, yes, la mushrikina, and not be of those who make associations. They add to the deity. They add to those whom they give their undivided attention to. بنسبة, by associating الإرادة, the will, والتأثير, and the influences, the will and influence, إلى غيره, to others, to something else. Yes. Our will, if we're Muslim and we're on the right path, our will becomes the will of Allah. We don't associate our will to something else other than that. لأن من علم أنه, because whoever knows that, لا يمكن وقوع شيء, that the occurrence of anything, وقوع شيء, the occurrence of anything is not possible. لا يمكن is not possible, translating in that sense, بغير مشيئة من الله, without the will of Allah. If you know that, then you wouldn't be saying that. علم أنه لو شاء كل من في العالم, and he knows that all كل من في العالم, notice how I'm reading it. I'm reading it for you to see the grammar. All of who is in the world, if لو شاء, if he wanted anything, if he willed anything, if you have a will for anything, lam yasha Allahu ذلك, and Allah has not willed that thing, lam yumkin wuku'uhu, then its occurrence is not possible. If you will something and it's not the will of Allah, then the occurrence of that thing is truly not possible. Now, that's Ibn Arabi. Let's look at the logic of Imam W.D. Muhammad. And I am putting Imam W.D. Muhammad in Arabic. He did not speak Arabic, so I can't say I'm quoting him in Arabic. I'm not quoting him in Arabic. I'm reading what he said in English, and it's not all word for word. Understand this. It's difficult to translate Arabic to English word for word and keep the thought and meaning. It's difficult to do. Even when I'm translating Ibn Arabi, I'm translating it in the voice of today, within a body of knowledge. Actually, much of it that I have gotten from the influence of Imam W. Muhammad. So that's what I've spent my time studying for the past 40 years or more. Now, the same is going from English to Arabic. So this is something new for me that I'm doing, and I'm sending it to the students. You can watch and look and see. I have to capture the meaning of the Imam and put it in Arabic. So don't look for an exact word-for-word translation, because there are reasons why we can't do that with the Imam anyway. Which another point, if you want elaboration, bring it up on Tuesday at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So he says, El-Ashhasu, people. This is people. الذين لا يدركون, people who do not recognize. أن هناك, that there إلها, that there is a deity, إله. They do not recognize that there is a deity, or that a deity. لديه قدرة وإرادة, that the power and will belongs to him. I say el kudratu or el iradatu, perhaps, because perhaps that would be better to say it in that light, in that power in its totality. So we can make this change. Al-iradatu. It belongs to him. Power and will belongs to him. Ala kulli shay'in, upon everything. Akallu sha'nan. So those who do not recognize this, those who do not recognize a deity, that the power and will he has over ala kulli shay'in, over everything, akallu sha'nan, is more inferior. They are inferior. Akallu sha'nan, inferior, min ulaika alladhina yu'minuna billahi, than those who believe in Allah. Those who recognize any form, any deity, anything they're giving their devoted attention to, that belongs to Allah, ilahan, those people are aqallu sha'nan, they are inferior to those who believe in Allah. Yes. And something we can discuss if needs to be elaborated on to show you where I see it at. Or do you see it at, or do I see it at? Especially in the society that we're in. بغض النظر عن مدى تقدمه. No matter, بغض النظر, no matter the how much, عن مدى, no matter how much تقدمه we find them making progress, no matter how much progression. Think about the two paths again, without going back over it. No matter how much progression they make along, not the sabil, we talked about paths and adjacent to sabil, madian, in terms of material progression. No matter how much material progression they make. Or by any other means, any other sense. فَهُمْ أَقَلُّ شَأْنًا, they are inferior. This statement, very, very statement to consider, to think on, reflect on. Begotten nothing. You can lower, literally, you can lower your eye, lower your gaze. Don't look so much at those you see, extending their progress, materially. It has a big influence on those who say they believe in Allah. Don't worry about that. فَهُمْ أَقَلُّ شَأْنًا. They are inferior. And they're the ones who will say, starting out, أَشْرَكُوا لَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا لَوْ شَاءَ اللَّهُ. Yes. I hope you understand. Ones without material progress, it's not their language. It's the ones with the material progress. In the last part, إِذَا كَانَ أُولَئِكَ, and those who الَّذِينَ يَتَمَسَّكُونَ, so those who hold on, they hold on بِإِيمَانِهِمْ, they hold on to their beliefs, billahi, they hold on those who grab a hold of and do not let go. بِيَتَمَسَّكُونَ, we'll look at that form. I'm not going to elaborate. بِإِيمَانِهِمْ billahi, in their faith. Billahi, in Allah. Because we start with faith first. ثُمَّ يَتَّبِعُونَ, then we talk about the two paths. The path that goes up, the vertical path, and then we have the horizontal path. This vertical path, faith. Both have faith. But this is the faith, trust. We hold trust and faith in Allah. Summa, and nothing coming between our faith and trust in Allah. No one coming between our trust and faith in Allah. This is the path going up, Sarat al-Mustaqim. Stay on that straight path. Then, يَتَّبِعُونَ هُدَاهُمْ, then they follow His guidance, Allah's guidance, fi as-sarati, in the path that goes up, wa as-sabili, and the path that goes out. And which atahum yahu Allahu, which Allah gives, Allah Himself only, Allah only gives them. If they do that, if they just hold on to that with science, with the, let's say, the pursuit of science, starting with Quran, as part of the support, and go along the sabil, Surat and sabil, with faith in Allah, فَسَوْفَ يَتَفَوَّقُونَ, soon they will يَتَفَوَّقُونَ, they're going to surpass. Soon they're going to surpass عَلَى أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ لَا يُؤْمِنُونَ, those who do not believe. Don't become so mesmerized. Don't give so much attention to those who do not believe in their material progress. Tuesday, if you ask, then I can give you examples of where I see it at. هذا لأن الكافرون, because the mushrikeen is the kafiruna. That is because the disbelievers. This is because the disbelievers, لَيْسَ لَدَيْهِ الْإِرَادَةَ, they do not have the will. وَالتَّأْثِيرَ, and the influence. أو إنتاج, or production, في مذهبه, from their philosophy, from their school of thought. They don't have it. They don't have the will, the influence, or the production in their philosophy, in their philosophical thinking. التي which يمتلكها المؤمنون, which the believers have في مذهبهم, in their philosophical thinking, in their school of thought, that begins with the Quran, that had the foundation. The foundation of the thought is with the Quran. This is our comment on this verse. If you have questions, Tuesday at 7 o'clock, I will put the information up for those of you who may not know the phone number and the webinar. You can call in too, ask questions on what we have presented today and other questions that you may have on the Quran. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. I thank you for coming. Assalamu alaikum.